Hi guys, first of all, what was the frigging point in inviting on a guy who doesn't have two neurons to rub together, Lord Frost, onto the Politics Live show? Because if the plan was to give advice on how small and medium-sized businesses are to get round or navigate the problems of Brexit, then that was a complete waste of time. So two business owners were invited onto the show to discuss the impact of a new regulation that's taking place on the 13th of December. This is where businesses will have to provide an extra level of protection to consumers. But while this will impact also businesses in the EU, the sting in the tail is that in order to complete part of the process, it will be necessary to have an EU-based address, something most small and medium-sized British companies don't have. When the problem the company is facing was put to Lord Frost, you would not imagine his response.
David Frost is the architect of the Brexit deal. What do you say to Nigel and Adina?
Well, I say that I'm sorry that they have trading difficulties. That's very clear. But we must remember that these rules are brought in by the European Union, not by our government. The EU is a protectionist organisation. It always has been. It doesn't like free trade across its borders, and that's why we constantly get these proposals to control, to regulate, to make life difficult. And that's why, or it's one of the many reasons, that the British people voted to leave back in 2016, and I still think that was the right decision.
But you negotiated and agreed to that deal that has had this impact on businesses like Nigel and Adina's.
If you want to avoid this sort of friction, then you need to be subject to EU law, the EU Commission, the EU Court. We need to accept that our laws are not going to be made in this country. They're going to be made in Brussels, and we're not going to get a say in them. And that is the trade-off that we negotiated. The British people voted not to be part of that, and that's what we delivered.
Nigel, you're shaking your head listening to that. What do you say?
Yeah, maybe what you delivered, but this is what's happened. It's difficult to say, really. This was obviously going to happen. I could see that, but it's fairly naive because this country needs to trade with other nations, and if you sell a product, you've got to meet other people's regulations. So
and we understand.
So we understand that.
Well, David, were you naive in those negotiations not to have foreseen this?
The EU constantly regulates, it constantly brings in new rules, it constantly makes trade difficult. But I repeat my point that the only way you can avoid those things is by submitting yourself to EU control and EU rules, and that's what we voted against.
Right, well, Natalie...
My goodness, and the little smirk at the end. The smirk at the end. This business is struggling, is going to struggle. And what is Lord Frost's response to all of this? Well, the EU is a problem. But we voted to leave. What was the point in bringing this idiot onto the show? What was the point of this? What did he add to the discussion? Did he give this business some advice? No. He just said, suck it up. I sold you a pup, and you have to live with that. I and Boris Johnson made an absolute arse of the situation, but don't worry, we're okay. Boris Johnson is probably a millionaire, and I'm in the House of Lords, so we're fine, so don't worry about us, we're okay. Your business will probably close down, because in this interview they mentioned that 25% of the business they do is with the EU, so there's a risk that they will end up closing down, laying off staff, selling up. I hope they don't. I hope they're able to get around it. But it won't be any thanks to this idiot. This guy. What was the point of this? Completely useless. Sorry I'm shouting. But the BBC giving a platform to this idiot. He knows nothing about what he's talking about. They were asked, what are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to get around these problems? And his response is, well, the EU is protectionist. The EU is protecting its business. Yes, the UK, when it was a member of the European Union, was protected as well. Businesses in Great Britain were protected as well. Now they're not protected. They have to follow the rules like if they're in America or in China. And this guy said it was a great deal. Him and Boris Johnson, the oven-ready deal. The TCA, a great deal for Britain. And then what happened? They disappeared. And now they're back again. This one, back again. To do what? What was the point in having him on the show? He added nothing. Did he provide some advice? No. Did he say, well, maybe you can try this or you can try that? No. He just smirked. He smirked because he's not impacted by this. They are. We tricked you. And I'm back to be smug about it, to rub your noses in it. The solution to this, of course, is for the UK as a whole to rejoin the single market and the customs union, to rejoin the EU, to be at the table making the decisions. But this guy told these people, no, that's a bad idea. We need to double down on the situation. Once again, I hope these business owners are able to survive. I hope they're able to thrive in their business. But it'd be no help to this guy. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.